Perfect. Okay. Very good. Very good. Very good. This one is going to be pretty special, I got to tell you. How's it going, fam? XRP, it's looking like $1 million. Oh, yeah. Welcome to the official Crypto Week Live, where I'm going to take you to a somewhat boring for some, but much needed rules hearing. So I was like, what are we supposed to watch this Crypto Week? Like, what's going on, right? Are they going to go to the house? Are they going to vote? Like, I'm learning, okay? So I learned that right now there's some rules that I have to hear, right? And this is it. It's going to start in 5 minutes. And take a look at this. HR 1919, which is what you see right there. HR 3633, that's there. And S 1582, which is right there as well. They have 4 rules they're going to talk about today, right now. And our mission is to listen and, as always, make some fun of something. And let's see who speaks. It's the House. We know more people from the Senate that are a little bit more bullish with this, like Cynthia Lumens and other ones, but we'll see, right? I'm just giving you the rundown so you prepare yourself with everything you have so we have some fun. Plus, the price of XRP, guys, we went to $3, which is pretty good. Repeatedly, like about 3 times in the last 12 hours. So isn't that amazing, guys? $3. We did it. It happened. We did it, fam. So why don't we go ahead and relax, listen what they have to say, because it passed the Senate, it's going to the House, and there's still some tweaks to go through. So drop a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on those notification bells, and let's get to it, fam. Welcome to everybody coming in. Jump in, fam. Really, really happy to see you. Really, really happy to see you. What a phenomenal time to be here, because there's going to be some insane momentum for sure. And, well, I'm so ready to pump it. How you doing, JB? TJ in the house. Planets is here too. Ghost as well here. Got everybody here. Let's go. Oh, by the way, yeah, the price of XRP, and we have all, different cryptos taking some retracements through. There is. What's up, buddy? Welcome. Oh, I got a lot of people right now. Let's go. To anybody reading this, you're not a little too late for crypto. You're still early. It's true. You might not get rich overnight, but you are securing your future. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it for the Mexican pesos. Shout out to my Mexican brothers and sisters. Very, very happy. Thank you. So we got some more monies to buy more dippity dip. Dave in the house. What's up, Dave? Good to have you. Welcome. Welcome. Thanks so much for being here. Shout out to August in the house. Good to see you, buddy. I like your profile. Like, your profile picture is unique, so I can easily say, oh, that's you. 2 minutes to go, guys. 2 minutes to go, and signal is going to come in. It's supposed to start at 4 p.m. Eastern, so it's about in 7 minutes. So it will be another 5 more minutes or so if they start on time. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, I was like, let's listen up. Gonna be a lot of people talking about crypto, and I'm like, why not? Right? Why not? Once again, HR 1919, HR 3633, HR 4016, which That's not what we are here for. Department of Defense Appropriations Act. We don't really, I don't really want to listen to that, but it's inside this meeting. And we got S1582. And there's only 79 people waiting to watch on the House Rules YouTube page, but we are bringing like 1,000 plus. So we're helping. We're helping spread the information. So we like that. We like that a lot. Question: do you think Jerome Powell will quit? I don't think so. It's just noise. I don't think he's gonna quit. But if he does that, oh man, we're gonna pump to the moon very, very quickly. I'm pretty positive. What's up, Dilesh? Good to have you and welcome. Thanks so much for all the support, fam. And well, we're barely starting. Barely starting. Netherlands in the house. SS. Let's go. Hey, bro. I was watching. I hostage. Yes, it's pretty cool. I mean, not what happened, in Amsterdam, right at the Apple Store, but one of those movies, on Netflix that gives you a different perspective. So it was nice. I know that happened in Amsterdam, Netherlands. So yeah. Gamer in the house, welcome, buddy. So we're just waiting for the house rules. It's gonna come anytime right now. Chat is disabled for them. Not surprising. Not surprising. I was going through some of the videos and they take a long time. A really, really, really long time. Some of them are like 1 hour and a half. Other ones are like 11 hours. I'm like, no way. That's too long. Are we going to be the crypto capital of the world when every time we're up, the market dumps? Isn't that amazing that the market dumps, bro? Because we want to buy the dip. Wednesday, clarity vote, and Thursday, Genius Act. Good. So tomorrow we have the votes. Great. Right now, just rules and they start just hearings, right? But like if you're interested, this is going to be the official place for you to watch it. You're more than welcome to enjoy with us for sure. And welcome to all the people jumping in. We're just waiting on them, basically. Waiting on them. Here's the info. It's posted there on the chat. Very bullish times, $3 XRP again. Feels great, man. Really, really feels good when we've been seeing some terrible times, There it is. 4 more minutes. 3-4 more minutes and it's good to go. Okay, they're live. They're live. Good stuff. Committee rules. Now let's see, there's going to be some people speaking. Classic politicians, but obviously they all should pass with no problem. They all should pass. Everything that they're going to speak about is not as controversial as the big, beautiful bill. So if everything is decently well crafted, both Republicans and Democrats, they're all getting a bunch of money from the crypto industry. So for them, it's just more money to their pockets. That's what it is. Hey, Oscar, brother, hope you're well. Let's bump. What's up, buddy? Good to have you. Yes, we do it. Yes, indeed. The numbers don't lie. XRP just clocked 331 million in volume in 1 minute. Let me see if there's music here. Yep, there's music. But you can see right there how the moves, we're doing really, really, really well. President Trump says, I go on TV and the market goes wild. I cannot move it I can move it just by talking. Not exactly what you want to say if you are not Donald J. Trump, but when you're Donald J. Trump, you can basically say anything and it's going to be fine. Because this, what is it called? That's called manipulation. It is, I mean, it is manipulation. The good kind of manipulation, right? I mean, sometimes we complain, right? And I'm guilty of that. It's like, oh, manipulation. They're manipulating the market, and that's why it's crashing. But then when it's pumping, why are we not complaining? That is manipulation, right? It's what it is. Oscar, the SEC Commission has scheduled a vote of the full dismissal. Where can I find that, Mario? Thank you for letting me know. Influence, manipulation. I think it's kind of like a gray area. Could be in between for sure. South Africa is watching. What's up, guys? Happy to see you and welcome. No, they're not voting right now, guys. As I said on the title, it's hearings. So hearings. You will see right now. You will see. It's already 4 p.m. You will see. Just talk, and which nobody really watches this, right? Unless there's something that it affects an industry, and the people that are inside the industry are watching and listening. Like, nobody really knows this exists, but the reason why it's verified, like, you see this? I mean, no 6,000 subscriber channel could be verified. But they are, because it's from the government. XDC did really well. Did really, really, really well. It's gonna do much better. I'm pretty positive. You know, TJ in the house. Welcome. Those links, guys. Check them out if you want, for sure. They do support the channel. We appreciate it. Don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up. And I want to tell you something that is breaking here for the channel, fam. Before it starts, I have partnered with Flux Charts, and I'm gonna tell you more as the day goes by. You will see my. Oh, I got scared.
Good afternoon. The committee will come to order. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare recess at any time. Today, the Rules Committee is convening to consider 4 separate measures: S 1582, HR 1919, HR 3633, and HR 4016. S 1582, the Bipartisan Genius Act, establishes a pro-growth regulatory framework for payment stablecoins. This legislation is historic, and it will help propel responsible innovation within America and lead us to securing an even stronger foothold within the global financial system. The aims of this legislation are simple: to increase regulatory clarity, reinforce consumer protection, and ensure that the security of our financial system remains sound and not encumbered. S 1582 also affirms the dominance of the U.S. dollar, something we can all agree is incredibly pertinent. HR 1919, the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act, would amend the Federal Reserve Act to prohibit the Federal Reserve banks from offering certain products or services directly to an individual, and to prohibit the use of central bank digital currency for monetary policy. In short, HR 1919 expresses the sense of Congress that the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve currently does not have the authority to issue a central bank digital currency and will not have such authority unless Congress grants it under Congress's Article 1, Section 8 powers. The federal government has absolutely no business whatsoever in creating mechanisms that allow for financial surveillance. Doing so would lead to flagrant abuses of consumer privacy. That's an unacceptable outcome that simply cannot be allowed to happen. This legislation would prevent the federal government from exercising unilateral authority in using the financial system as a cudgel against American consumers. It's critical that Congress passes this legislation so that the financial privacy of American consumers remains protected and free from undue influence. H.R. 3633, the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act of 2025, establishes a set of functional, concise requirements for participants of the digital asset market while also spurring innovation and putting consumer protection first. This is another strong piece of legislation that will help cement America's leadership and standing within the global financial system. To dispense with the regulatory ambiguity and regulation by enforcement that has ultimately stifled innovation, H.R. 3633 works to establish a clear framework for digital asset markets while closing regulatory gaps. It is true that digital assets and other related forms of blockchain technology can help unlock a new era of innovation, but that can only happen when there's a clear roadmap for everyone: entrepreneurs, developers, consumers. This legislation offers common sense solutions that will help encourage innovation and lead to even further opportunities within the global financial system for America. H.R. 4016, the Department of Defense Appropriations Act of 2026, provides for appropriations for the DoD for the fiscal year ending on September 30, 2026. The bill provides a total discretionary allocation of $831.5 billion, the same as the fiscal year 2025 enacted level, and adheres to the discretionary budget top line put forward in the President's FY26 budget request. It provides $189 billion for active reserve and National Guard military personnel, which is $6.6 billion above the fiscal year 2025 enacted level. In addition to the continuation of historic pay increases in FY 2025 for junior enlisted service members, this legislation includes a 3.8% increase in basic pay for all military personnel effective January 1, 2026. It makes key investments in research and development, procurement, operation, and maintenance, and other critical areas throughout the Department of Defense. Funding is also allocated for the Golden Dome for America, for strengthening the industrial base, and for other strategic priorities of the DoD. Congress's most important duty is to provide for the common defense and general welfare of the nation. It is abundantly clear that this legislation must be passed so that we can continue to uphold that duty. As always, I certainly welcome our Democrat colleagues to join us in voting in favor of these four separate measures. With that, I yield to the ranking member, Mr. McGovern, for any comments he wishes to make.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, and let's just be honest about what's going on here. Fresh off ramming through their big, ugly tax scam, a shameless handout to billionaires, Republicans have decided that it wasn't enough. Huge tax giveaways to the rich and powerful weren't good enough. Now they want to give even more to those who already have the most. They're calling three bills they are putting forward this week as crypto reform. But let's be real. This is a rigged game. It's the GOP's crypto giveaway, written for those at the top. These bills set in stone weak and ineffective crypto regulations with loopholes so big that you could drive a Mack truck through them. Loopholes for the rich, which seems to be the favorite pastime of my friends on the other side. I have not had one person in my district come up to me and say, please, please, Jim, make it easier for crypto millionaires to get richer. Please make it easier to con people. Yet
And
that
they
is
are in
exactly what is
Congress.
going on
Listen
here.
to this guy.
Democrats tried to include protections for consumers,
Listen
bans
to
on
this guy.
fraud, even rules to stop elected officials from profiting off the laws they write. These common sense amendments were rejected by Republicans. Why? Follow the money. This isn't about innovation, it's about corruption. Get this, Trump and his family are making boatloads of money on their crypto schemes, and these bills even carve out special treatment for Trump's personal crypto ventures. Literally, that is like the definition of corruption. Now, I remember a time when presidents actually divested from personal business interests to avoid even the appearance of corruption. That used to be the standard around here. Now, we've got an administration openly using their power to pad their own bank accounts, cutting deals, cozying up to crypto backers, and inviting pay-to-play schemes and foreign influence operations to come in right through the front door. They aren't even trying to hide it. Again, this is corruption, plain and simple. Now, also on our agenda is the defense appropriations. And I want to say this until I'm blue in the face. We should not be writing massive blank checks to the Pentagon when they can't even pass a simple audit. This bill will continue shoveling millions and millions of dollars to defense contractors who charge exorbitant prices after Republicans just snuck an additional $150 billion for defense spending into the big ugly bill. This is the fleecing of America's taxpayers, and it's also defense contractors can continue to make an extra buck. If Republicans were serious about waste, this is where they would start, but they won't, because they're not serious about legislating at all. Now, let's not forget, the last time we were here, Republicans jammed through their one big ugly bill, $1 trillion smash and grab that punishes working people and rewards the richest of the rich. That bill is now law, thanks to Republicans in Congress and to Donald Trump, a law that will kick 17 million Americans off their health care, shutter hospitals and assisted living facilities, take food out of the mouths of the hungry, raise energy costs for families while big oil cashes in, give the biggest tax cuts to the rich while hardworking people get scraps, and oh, by the way, adds nearly $4 trillion to the debt. Why cut health care and food assistance from hardworking Americans when you're still going to add $4 trillion to the debt? Who is this helping besides the very rich in this country? I mean, you've got to admire the gall. Rob the poor, reward the rich, explode the debt, and then come in here with a straight face talking about responsibility and reforms. It's outrageous and it is cruel, and it's going to catch up with you. So here's the truth. Republicans have the majority, and they used it to pass the most extreme, reckless, corrupt agenda in modern history. But the American people are watching. They're going to feel the pain brought to them by this Republican government when grocery bills go up, when the hospital down the street shuts its doors, when grandma loses her Medicaid. And they're going to remember it in November 2026. Democrats aren't going to stop fighting. We believe in a government that works for the people, not just for hedge fund managers and crypto bros and Mar-a-Lago donors. So no, we're not going to let Republicans change the subject. We're going to keep calling out the corruption and chaos, and we're going to keep standing up for the people who sent us here because they deserve better than this mess. And with that, I yield back.
Thank you very much, Mr. McGovern. Without objection, any prepared statements that our witnesses may have will be included in the record. I now welcome our first panel, Representative Calvert and Representative McCallum from the Committee on Appropriations. McCallum, I should say it right. Your full statement will be submitted for the record, and we ask that you summarize your statement in 5 minutes. Representative Calvert, I welcome your testimony.
Thank you, Chairwoman Fox and Ranking Member McGovern, and it's good to be here with my friend and Ranking Member Patty McCallum. It's a pleasure to appear before this committee today in support of H.R. 4016, the fiscal year 26 Department of Defense Appropriation Act. I know our time is relatively short, so I'll try to be brief. H.R. 4016 provides $831.5 billion for the Department of Defense and Intelligence community While this is a flat bill relative to discretionary funds enacted in fiscal year 25, coupled with our recently enacted Reconciliation Act, it provides nearly $1 trillion to modernize and sustain our armed forces. Today's threat environment continues to grow more complex. Russia remains an aggressive actor. China's values continue to clash with our own, and they advance their military capability. Now more than ever, the United States requires strategic investments to defend and protect the American people. Preventing harmful actors' aggression amplifies the need to develop and field capabilities that provide America the military advantage we need. First, this bill champions America's military superiority in a variety of ways. It enhances investments in fifth and sixth generation aircraft, such as the F-35, F-47, and the F/A-XX. This bill prioritizes modernization of the nuclear triad through investments in the B-21 Raider, the Columbia-class submarine, and Sentinel. This bill also provides $13 billion for missile defense and space programs in support of the Golden Dome effort. Innovation and our defense industrial base workforce remain cornerstones to providing America's competitive edge. The bill builds off successful prior initiatives through a combined funding of $1.3 billion spread across the DIU, the Office of Strategic Capital, and APFIT. Furthermore, $1.5 billion is provided to support the maritime industrial base by investing in critical supply chain and workforce training. Drug trafficking, including fentanyl, remains a very serious crisis across the United States and poses a national security.
For some people that are saying, well, this is not crypto, no worries, buddy. They're talking about 4. 1919, which is crypto, 3633, which is crypto, 1582, which is crypto, but the last one, which that's what he's talking about, is 4016, that is Department of Defense appropriations. That's why he's talking about, the Army and the budget for the military, which is not crypto, but most of them are crypto. So after this guy, here comes another crypto guy, I think. All right, enjoy.
Reporting on the department's allocations and reconciliation to ensure funding is spent how Congress intended it. This bill continues to care for our troops and their families by including a 3.8% basic pay raise for all military personnel. It also continues historic pay raises enacted in fiscal year 25 for junior enlisted service members. These investments are neither duplicative or superseded by the important provisions enacted in the reconciliation package, but rather complementary by design through close coordination among committees through the last several months. However, this bill was drafted under unprecedented circumstances, without the benefit of timely and complete justification materials that typically accompany the President's budget request, but nevertheless, the bill is reflective of key department requirements and problematic priorities, while still maintaining a fiscally responsive stance. This passage of this bill is the next step to provide critical funding for the Department of Defense for the year 26. We cannot slow down. Dynamic global threats require us to continue to press on, which is why we seek support today. With that, I thank you, and I look forward to the committee's questions. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Now recognize the gentlelady, Ms. McCollum, for her 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ranking Member McGovern. I want to thank Chairman Calvert for his leadership on this subcommittee, and I'll tell you why. He was put in a very difficult position of having to write the defense appropriation bill without the full budget request, as he just pointed out. This is an unprecedented situation, and it is not the chairman's fault. The responsibility lies with the Trump administration. They have damaged the appropriations process by failing to get us a budget request on time. Fiscal year 2026 Defense Appropriation Bill Act totals $831.5 billion. It is the same level that DOD is currently operating at under a full-year continuing resolution. As I said, the bill was written without having the full fiscal year 2026 budget request in front of us. This is a huge problem. The Defense Budget Appropriations Act is our committee's largest discretionary funding bill. It is a complex piece of legislation dealing with a wide range of national security issues. DoD's programs require detailed annual review by appropriators because they evolve over time. The only way for us to analyze this information is to write a thorough and thoughtfully informed bill. We do that by reviewing the full budget request. Unfortunately, the Trump administration failed to submit the congressional budgetification books, called J-books, before we marked up this bill. And we still don't have all the books yet. These documents represent critical granular details that the subcommittee needs to properly evaluate DoD programs. They show us not only what the request is for the coming fiscal year, but also what is expected to be spent over the next 5 years. That detail, the next 5 years, is how we can see if programs are on target to complete the previous year's information, or if it is impossible for them to do so. Because we don't have audits, clean audits from the DoD, except for the Marines, these documents are the only way we can track the money. The submission of these documents is part of the normal budget process that every administration and Congress has operated under. So this year, because the Trump administration failed to submit a full budget request, what do we have to write this bill? Only top-line numbers, with none of the detailed program analysis to back them up. The fact is, the Trump administration gave us no information to make decisions on programs funded in this bill, and that's completely unacceptable. This bill is an incomplete product because we did not have the President's plan for the DoD's priorities when the bill was written. For example, Golden Dome at this point is merely a concept, not a plan. None of us have been briefed in detail on how the administration intends to spend $175 billion or deliver in 3 years, because the analysis of the DoD is incomplete. We don't know how the money for Golden Dome will impact future defense bills. Another example is the cost to deploy National Guard around the country. To do so is Homeland Security's job. But in June, we found out that the cost to deploy 4,000 California National Guardsmen and 700 Marines to Los Angeles was $134 million. But now, Secretary Hagseth is reviewing a request from the Department of Homeland Security to deploy more than 20,000 National Guard troops across the country. Setting aside the legal questions about utilizing military for immigration enforcement purposes, the deploying of troops of this magnitude has a serious budgetary impact. But Secretary Hagseth has still not given us a complete budget. So we do not know what thought went into it, the duration of these employments, how much they will cost, where the funding will be pulled from to pay for them. The President proposes, Congress disposes, and that's the way our system is supposed to work. There are consequences for following this process. We may end up buying too many of one platform, wasting precious tax dollars, or we may end up buying too little of another, leaving a gap in our defense capabilities. When we write this bill without seeing the full budget request, we fail to maximize the buying power for the taxpayers. So it's deeply unfortunate that the Trump administration, and OMB in particular, has put the committee in this position. I also have strong objections to many of the same poison pill writers that were in previous House versions of the defense bill. These partisan social writers should never become law. But they lead us down a road that may once again result in a full year CR. Our national security cannot afford to lose another year. Once again, the bill limits the ability of the service personnel and their families to receive reproductive health care they deserve. Women make almost 20% of the military services, and many women's service members live in states that have limited or banned altogether reproductive health care. So once again, there are provisions that disenfranchise lesbian, gay, and transgender service members. These poison pill writers will go not unnoticed by our troops. They will notice in them, and they will impact recruitment and detention. Regrettably, I cannot vote for the passage of the bill or recommend it to my colleagues to support it. We all know what needs to happen for this bill to become law. When Congress has received all the justification books, We need to work with our Senate colleagues and find the right balance of funding our national security priorities. Then the bipartisan riders need to come out so we can get to a bipartisan support. We've done this many times before, and we have the blueprint to get it done. Let's work together responsibly to fund the Department of Defense and not waste another year on a full year CR. And I look forward to working with the chairman not to have that happen. It's exactly what our adversaries want us to do, have another second year, full year CR. Mr. Chairman, I thank you for the patience you gave me with my voice with the extra minute or two. I truly do appreciate that. And with that, I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Now recognize the gentlelady from Minnesota, Ms. Fishbach, for her time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you both for being here. I appreciate it. And Mr. Calvert, I was just wondering if maybe you could maybe talk a little bit about, and if you can't remember all of them, about what this really does for the lives of servicemen and women, and the good things that are in this bill that are
There's
positive
3
in their
for
daily
crypto
lives.
and 1 for the DoD.
We're focused. The military today is a lot different than it was 50 years ago. We have an all-volunteer force. So not only do the men and women join the military, but their entire families.
This
So
is
we're focused
ridiculous.
on taking care of the families and providing for childcare, education, obviously world-class health care for our military members across the globe. And certainly that's expensive. A significant part of the cost of the United States military is personnel, because we pay our people, and we pay them a decent wage and give them a fine career. So a significant amount of this bill is toward that.
And it just, you know, you mentioned the pay increase, and that's along with what we've done very recently in the past, and reducing the frequency of station moves. And not only does that save us money, but it also is better for the family, because you said not only the servicemen, but the family.
And it's actually a better outcome, too, because they understand their role in the places where they serve, and we move around a lot of our people too much.
And then I also have, there's money for housing and youth programs and things like that. And I know that I've been on various tours where the housing is not great, and we need to make sure that our servicemen and women have decent housing. And then, so I'd like to, I wanted to just mention some of those, because there's a lot going on with the bill, but plain and
And
simple,
I can say
it's
this
important.
is, a bipartisan effort. We both
Yep.
agree that the quality of life for the men and women who serve in the military is extremely important. It helps with our retention. And I also like to add that our recruiting is doing very well. We've met all our recruiting goals for all the services in record time, so we're doing quite well.
And then thank you very much for that. And but I do like to just kind of focus on some of those, because we are doing things to improve those lives, the lives of the servicemen and women. And I think that's important for us to make sure that we are talking about too. And just in a little bit of a side note, because I have the note here, but the National Guard equipment, the increase in funding there, and helping to do that too. So there's some very important things. And I know sometimes we talk about, that high level kind of stuff, but these are important things that are very critical to this bill. And with that, I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Now recognize the ranking member, Mr. McGovern, for his time of questioning.
Again, I want to thank you both for coming to the Rules Committee. Look, we all can find some good things in this bill, but there are also some things that, quite frankly, I think are bad. And I want to associate myself with the ranking member's testimony. I mean, I think the process is lacking. It's not any fault of yours necessarily, but the way this is moving forward, and also there are specific things contained in this that I have strong objections to. And so I will join the ranking member in voting no on this bill. But I like you both too much, so I will spare you questions, and I will yield back.
I thank the gentleman.
Gentleman yields back. Now recognize gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I intend to vote yes on this bill. And Mr. Calvert, I want to the global situation right now. NATO has agreed to push towards 5%. Is that correct?
That's correct. Hopefully they meet that goal.
And Canada, who has not been one to spend much on national.
Give me a break. I mean, let's see. I only see these two guys, and these are from the DoD. I don't know if they're gonna talk about stables or crypto, because I see all of them, but it's like, who's gonna speak on behalf of crypto, or are they doing the DoD first and then crypto? I'm not sure. I'm not sure on that. Sponsors body. Let's see. The only guy that spoke about crypto was this guy, but not in a really great way. He's the only one, but he is a member.
Rich and powerful weren't good enough. Now they want to give even more to those who already have the most. They're calling 3 bills they are putting forward this week as crypto reform. But let's be real. This is a rigged game. It's the GOP's crypto giveaway, written for those at the top. These bills set in stone weak and ineffective crypto regulations with loopholes so big that you could drive a Mack truck through them. Loopholes for the rich, which seems to be the favorite pastime of my friends on the other side. I have not had one person in my district come up to me and say, please, please, Jim, make it easier for crypto millionaires to get richer. Please make it easier to con people. Yet that is exactly what is going on here. Democrats tried to include protections for consumers, bans on fraud, even rules to stop elected officials from profiting off the laws they write. These common sense amendments were rejected by Republicans. Why? Follow the money. This isn't about innovation, it's about corruption. Get this, Trump and his family are making boatloads of money on their crypto schemes, and these bills even carve out special treatment for Trump's personal crypto ventures. Literally, that is like the definition of corruption. Now, I remember a time when presidents actually divested from personal business interests to avoid even the appearance of corruption. That used to be the standard around here. Now, we've got an administration openly using their power to pad their own bank accounts, cutting deals, cozying up to crypto backers, and inviting pay-to-play schemes and foreign influence operations to come in right through the front door. They aren't even trying to hide it. Again, this is corruption, plain and simple. Now, also on our agenda is the defense appropriations. And I want to say this until I'm blue in the face. We should not be writing massive blank checks to the Pentagon when they can't even pass a simple audit. This bill will continue shoveling millions and millions of dollars to defense contractors who charge exorbitant prices after Republicans just snuck an additional $150 billion for defense spending into the big ugly bill. This is the fleecing of America.
I now welcome our first panel, Representative Calvert and
Oh, there you go.
Representative McCallum from the Committee on Appropriations.
Yeah.
McCallum, I should say it right. Your full statement will be submitted for the record, and we ask that you...
War, unfortunately.
So this is one panel. I wanted to be early. I wanted to capture everything. You have 4 things that you're going to talk about. 3 are crypto related. 1 is not. And they start with the one that is not. Of course.
That has changed warfare forever against what our old legacy systems that we have. And so we have to change that immediately. There's no time for us to waste because
I don't know how long this is going to take.
Both large drones and small drones.
It's space, it's spectrum, it's drones, it's the speed of the new weapons, the size of them. They're harder to pick up when they're smaller. It is the ability to have a system in place that can calculate.
Yeah, here on my OBS, whoever is in charge of their audio, they only have the right side on, so, or the left one, right? Yeah, so if you're listening with speakers or so, you will see the difference. So there's only one side that audio is coming in. So it's not me, guys. It's just their side. So it's all messed up. Everything is messed up with this thing.
A significant commitment on their part. The Europeans are seeing the threat in their own backyard. And so they're finally picking up a significant part of their own defense. And that's a good thing. And we see that also in Japan. We see that in Australia. We see that in New Zealand. Right. We see that with all of our allies who recognize that these threats are real and we need to counter it.
Russia, China, and Iran are not going away. I will tell you one thing that I do think that we all recognize going forward. When we look at Ukraine, we also have to look at how good of a job they've done with a very small amount of money. And we can't afford to pay more than the weapon systems worth.
Thank you, Darius.
And so we have
I don't know.
our contractors.
Thank you.
accountable, and
Appreciate
I
it.
hope that we get to using smaller, more competitive contracts as we go forward.
And we're doing that.
But I appreciate both of you, and the threat is real. Russia, China, and Iran are not going away, and they do want to do harm to America and Americans and our friends, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or whatever party you're in. The threat is real. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Gentleman yields back. Now recognize the gentlelady of Pennsylvania, Ms. Scanlon, for her time for questioning.
Thank you. I have voted for the DOD appropriations bill in the past. I've voted for the NDAA in the past. But since taking the majority in the House, our Republican colleagues have loaded up these bills.
Their audio is so bad, bro.
Culture war riders that make a mockery of any effort to be able to have bipartisan bills. And I'm afraid that this bill is the same. The FY26 defense spending bill seems to have misplaced priorities. We owe it to our troops and our national security to meet in the middle and put forward common sense defense legislation. I'm afraid this bill doesn't cut it. Look, at a time when our Republican colleagues have slashed spending on basic human necessities like food and health care, they seem all too willing to ignore the potential for fraud, waste, and abuse in the Department of Defense. And that's despite the fact that every year we spend nearly $1 trillion on defense, and every year that amount goes up. But Congress never conducts meaningful oversight on that spending and the people who spend it at the Pentagon. And as the ranking member mentioned, the Pentagon has failed to pass 7 audits in a row, being unable to account fully for how it's spending nearly $1 trillion. So look, I want our service members to have every advantage against our enemies. But how can we continue to cut trillion-dollar checks and not ask where the money's going, or if we're getting good value for what we're spending? Even if Congress isn't willing to make that effort, I'm really concerned that this bill is going to cut funding for the Department of Defense Office of the Inspector General. Going to cut that funding by over $22 million. And who thinks that's a good idea? The Office of Inspector General
BBC
is
Live.
in the forefront
Night. Thank you, buddy.
of
Appreciate
figuring
it.
out where the contractors are misspending
Thank you,
money,
Amp.
where there has been fraud, waste, or abuse. So why are we turning our backs on that? With all the pressing global challenges that we face, I think we can do better. Ranking Member, I am very concerned about the continuing efforts in this bill to restrict the freedom of service members to obtain the full range of reproductive health care that they may need. We know that I think the figure that was given is that 20% of our service members are now women, and 40% of them are assigned to serve in states where they may not have access to abortion care if they should need it.
Just be quiet. Can't believe it. It frustrates me that you not have good audio, and then they scam us with their DOD first. It's like, whatever.
And there are a lot of people who are approaching other people who have name brands and saying, look, we ought to get in this business. We can go borrow money and buy Bitcoin and make money.
Or Ethereum, right?
Yeah, or Ethereum. Yeah, Ethereum. I used to own Ethereum. Wow, I mean, that thing was a rocket ship. Then it kind of died out. People were actually using Ethereum to buy things. But I think there's a whole other world out there right now. And like Jamie Dimon today about private equity, he criticized I mean, I don't know. You know how there are these sites, the site that talks about what events are going to occur. I'd like to go. I'd like to be the bookie on when he does a lot of crypto. He'll go all in crypto. Maybe he does it on the conference call. But I think
that would be a true 180.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why you got to check the sites. You got to check.
Classic Jim Cramer, guys. The guy, watch out with him.
All right, her life might be in jeopardy, or future fertility might be in jeopardy. Making a difficult decision, but then to put more obstacles in that family member's way of receiving their health care, to me, just seems wrong. And I think if we're going to support the women of the military, we need to support them in being able to access their free reproductive choices.
This wasn't in my
Every woman
agenda.
in the United States of America has the
To
right
have
to
you
do so.
listen to this.
So we shouldn't be putting obstacles up in the way of women to receive the health care that they need.
Oh my.
Be able to serve in our armed forces.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Now recognize the gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Norman, for his time of questioning.
Thank both of you for taking the time to come. Ms. McCollum, you mentioned, the fact that there was no plan, no thought given to the amount that of funds for the defense.
Sorry, guys. Failed. I have no idea when the crypto time is gonna be. I don't want you to spend your time here listening to this because this is not what we're here for. Some of you might get it right. 4 p.m. Eastern time. They start with 4016 Department of Defense. It's gonna take a while. I'm not sure how long. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 hour. So we're not gonna listen to all of that. But if you continue, I'm gonna send you the link. So this is the link. If you are interested, fam, here it is. That link is gonna take you to the YouTube live, and you're gonna be able to listen. Yeah, it's okay. It happens. It happens. But sorry. I don't know how long we'll have to wait till get to the part of crypto, but yeah, I think can be that late. Yeah, so go ahead and take a look at that one, fam. I'll see you next time. We tried, we really tried, but classic politicians, but it's okay. Yeah, some will have it live, but we tried, man. Really wanted to be early, but they decided to start with the Department of Defense. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Amp Night. Thank you so much for everything, and we'll catch you next time.
At that time, and I don't think any of us did.
One thing crypto, and it's from this guy that hates us. One thing about crypto, and it's from a hater. From a hater, bro. You cannot make this up. You cannot make this up. JB, TJ, Planet, Sacred, and Joe's, thank you for being here, buddy. Failed. Sometimes we fail. We don't really fail often, honestly. This is maybe the first one in a while, but it happens. Take care, fam. Cheers. Bind the dip. Bind the dip.